Okay, so we have entered the retained earnings account and then reversal general criteria. So there is something called general reversal criteria. So I'll explain about, if you remember yesterday we have created the reversal criteria. I will explain about the reversal functionality when we get into the actual journals. Okay. And then there are three important things: currency translation options, period end rate, period average rate, and cumulative translation adjustment account. Again, as of now, I'll leave it blank and I'll explain this when I get into this translation functionality. Okay. So as of now, I'm leaving them blank. Okay, even though I got some values here. Click on next. Okay, so there's okay, I think we have, it's not 3 digits, it should be 2 digits. Okay, and yeah.
I think this is why you have selected the allow dynamic inserts option in the accounting setup, right?
Yes, yeah. As we have set up,
To-
as we have enabled the allow dynamic insertion, so you can choose any kind of a combination. If the combination does not exist, you need to click on that create. So once you click on create, automatically it will create that particular code combination. And if you do
Okay,
not, so if you do not check that enable allow dynamic insertions in the chart of account structure, then you need to manually go to the GL code combination screen, create the code combination, and come back to this particular screen, and then you should be able to select that combination. Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. And all these are optional. You can just click on next, review everything. Whatever you have entered in the previous class is showing here, and click on finish. Okay, you have just enabled the intra-company balancing for the ledger. In order to use this feature, you must complete the intra-company balancing rule, which is fine. Click on return to accounting options. Okay, so here you can see the tick mark only for the INR ledger, the ledger options. Okay, so this was earlier was showing as a ledger option, and then for all other options you can see a square bracket. So you need to still complete all these things before you start using this particular ledger. Okay, now come to the next one, reporting currencies. Okay, so the functionality of the reporting currency is basically, it's basically you need not even add any reporting currency here if you are using a kind of a translation functionality. But if you want your all journals to be converted into any other currency other than your INR, you can use this reporting currency functionality. So take an example like your company is, I mean in this case your company is Reliance, which is located in India, but you got some kind of a parent company which is located in say US or some other country, wherein you want all your balances to be converted in from your INR to some other reporting currency. You can add that reporting currency here. Once you add that reporting currency, automatically all your journals or like your balances should get converted into the reporting currency. So I'll explain this when I'm talking about the translation functionality. So for the time being, don't enter any reporting currency, just click on complete button. So once you click on complete button, you will be able to see a tick mark here. Okay. And next thing is balancing segment value assignments here. So here you can see there are some balancing segments which are assigned at the legal entity level. Okay. And again, you can see an option of balancing segment value assignments at the ledger level. So once you click on this update, so the legal entity level balancing segment values you can already see you can see here. But if there are some, I mean, company codes which you want to use directly at the ledger level. So I'll give an example. So this is actually a new thing in release 12 compared to release 11i. So in release 11i, we do not have the concept of all the balancing segment value assignment at a ledger level or legal entity level. In R12, we got this particular functionality of balancing segment value or company code assignment at legal entity level and company code assignment at ledger level. Okay. So as far as the company code assignment at legal entity level is concerned, we have seen Reliance Communications and Reliance Textiles as an example. So Reliance Communications is one legal entity, and for that Reliance Communications we have assigned 01. And for Reliance Textiles we have assigned 02. Okay, because these are the two legally registered companies, and for these two legally registered companies we have created 01 and 02. Okay, let us assume there is some other company code which for some reason it's not registered for the legal authority, and you do not want to even use that particular if it is not registered for the legal authorities, obviously there will not be any real legal entity defined in the system. If the real legal entity is not defined in the system, then you cannot even use that particular company code or the legal entity in the subledgers, because in the subledger, whenever you are if you want to use a subledger, you need to have an operating unit, and you should also have a legal entity linked to that particular operating unit. But if in the system, if there is no legal entity defined in the system, it's just a simple company code or a company code. Say, take an example, say 06. Okay, it's not a legally registered company. It's not registered with any local authorities. Then obviously, as it is not registered with any local authority, there will not be any legal entity. If there is no legal entity, there will not be any operating unit. But you still want to use that particular company code in a system. In those cases, you can assign that particular company code directly at the ledger level. So that is the significance of the assignment of the company codes at the ledger level. Okay, it could be kind of a small company, but which is not registered, and you want to pass some kind of an entry using the particular company code, but it is not registered with any local authorities, and you do not want to use any subledgers. So in those cases, you can use that company code at your ledger level.
Arun, can you give one example about this kind of a scenario?
Okay, so I can give you an example from my current company. Okay, in our current company, we have I mean, generally in our current company, our company codes are it's a 3 digits code. So all our company codes are say 010, 050, 060, 055, something like that. But we have some kind of a elimination companies or some companies which are used for kind of an adjustment purpose, and we have defined all those company codes with 900 series. So it will be something like this: 900, 905, okay, 999, something like that. And we also have got some two companies. If I think in our company, it's if I remember it, 065 or 067. Okay, these are created in the system. Okay, some kind of a leasing companies created in the system, but they are not really registered with any local authorities. But for some specific business reason, they use those companies. There'll not be any kind of a subledger activities with those company codes, because as I said, like, they are not legal entities, but they pass some kind of an adjustment entries using those company codes 065 and 067, and those are used, and those are assigned directly at the ledger level. And it's not from an so this could be kind of a simple businesses wherein there are no major subledger transactions, but you want to pass some kind of, let's say, expense transactions or some kind of an adjustment entries, and you can so that's the reason why these two company codes are created in our company, and we have assigned these company codes at the ledger level, and we are able to use those two companies only in our ledger, that is only in our GL. We'll not be able to use those company codes in any of the subledgers. And it's
Okay.
not, and as we are not using any subledgers, and as it's not mandatory that every company needs to be registered for any legal authority. As it is not registered for any legal authority, it could be some small adjustment company or something like that.
Is it like, I mean, many software companies maintain this pseudo legal entity kind of, right? Like virtual office kind of,
No,
something
no,
like
no,
that?
no. That's actually kind of for maintaining of a black money and all those stuff. That's a different thing. So as soon as you put that in the system, then it's actually kind of a legal thing. Okay. So whatever you're talking about, pseudo company or virtual companies. So some
No, no,
companies.
no. Not black money. No, I'm saying, see, now, for example, Austria is a small country, right? So, like Tech Mahindra or some other company cannot maintain a full-fledged office, right?
Mhm.
So, for the sake of visas or for the sake of some kind of transaction, they just maintain a virtual office. I mean, virtual office is an office exists, but it is maintained by the lawyer.
No, no, but even in that particular case, if you take that as an example, I think Tech Mahindra will still create a legally registered company in that country. It will be, I mean, so there could be only say one room office, okay, but still
Right.
there will be a company Tech Mahindra Austria Pty Limited, something like that, and that will be registered with the local authorities. So that's
Okay.
that's one example, okay, and the other example could be okay. The other example could be what we can say. I don't think so. Yeah. So the Tech Mahindra example, whatever you have taken, that may not be a appropriate example, but
Mhm.
whatever I have seen is basically kind of an elimination company. So in GL we have a functionality of elimination. I mean, I'll not get into the elimination functionality. Elimination company codes are basically used whenever you want to what you call eliminate the intercompany transaction between different companies in a group. So we have got, say in our case, we have got 01 is a one company code, 02 is another company, 03, 04, and 05 we have got different companies, right? 01, 02 are under USD ledger, 0304 are under USD ledger, and 05 is the Canadian ledger. So when we are discussing about the consolidation process, I'll explain you like there will be something called a consolidation ledger, and in the consolidation ledger we will be pushing the data from all these three ledgers into the consolidated ledger. When we push the data from all these three ledgers into the consolidated ledger, all the intercompany transactions will also get into the consolidation ledger. And for the intercompany transactions, you eliminate them using elimination companies. So elimination companies. So in our current company, these 900 series companies are the elimination companies, which are not legally registered companies, but they are actually balancing company codes, which are created to pass those elimination adjustment entries. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Arvind, just to add on this topic, right? Like, what I understand is like whatever the registered companies like 01 or 02 would be assigned at the legal entity level, and
Mm-hmm.
you can perform transactions,
Mm-hmm.
and those transactions can be reported to the legal authorities,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever the company codes you are assigning at the ledger level,
Mm-hmm.
which may not be legally assigned, meaning legally registered, but
Mm-hmm.
you can do internal transactions using those company codes for your internal purpose, correct?
Yes.
So my question is, if it is for internal purpose, as it is not registered to the legal authorities, uh, those transactions, where do you report? Because it's end of the day, it is either P&L account or a balance sheet balancing segment accounts transactions only, right? Like you can do some transaction like purchase, or you can log it as a loss, or you can do some other revenue in terms of asset or whatever it is. So
Mm-hmm.
these transactions, how do you report? I mean, what kind of usage for these transactions?
Okay.
Since it is not legally registered, right?
Okay. So coming back to, can you be on mute? Okay, thanks. So coming back to the example of the elimination company. So elimination companies are kind of an adjustment entries to eliminate the intercompany transactions. So all these elimination companies are generally used in my current example, consolidation ledger. And in the consolidation ledger, you will not be reporting the transactions under this elimination companies, because these are purely used only to eliminate your intercompany receivables and intercompany payables. Okay, you need not do any reporting on this transaction. These are only internal adjustment to eliminate your intercompany receivables and intercompany payables. And as far as these two company codes are concerned, 065 and 067, okay, you are using those company codes for some kind of an adjustment entries, okay, but still in your trial balance, these company codes will be reflecting. So it's not mandatory that as per law, each and every company code needs to be registered. There could be various business reasons for that. So if it is not registered for the legal authority, that is when I say it's not registered as a legal company, but still there could be some scenarios wherein you can do a business and you can even do a reporting on those things. So your income tax reporting is different, your companies act reporting is different, and your local reporting is different. So if you're doing a kind of a say a reporting from your say income tax act perspective, they will not check like whether each and every company is actually registered or not. There could be some exceptions, and those exception is this one, say 065 and 067 in my current example. And whenever you are doing some kind of a local reporting, and again local reporting may not even get into all those details like what are the companies and what are the these companies are registered with which legal authorities, whether it's a company under companies act or income tax act or some other legal authority.
Okay, so Arvind, then when you're saying the intercompany, I mean these are used to eliminate the intercompany transactions. Say for example, we have two, Reliance Communications and Reliance Textiles. So intercompany, I mean transaction is something like Reliance Communication is buying some textile from Reliance Textile, and it is paying Reliance Textile, right? So this transaction, we don't want to show it to the authorities. That is why.
No. That's not the case.
No?
Okay. Okay. So if that's the case, it looks like I need to get into now intercompany transaction. Can we actually keep this in parking mode, parking lot? We can get into this when we are discussing about this particular intercompany journals.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure,
Otherwise,
sure.
now I need to get into the total intercompany functionality. Okay.
Okay.
Let us
Okay,
proceed with the
please.
ledger setup. Okay. So for the time being, assume that we are not assigning any company codes at the ledger level. So just click on complete. Okay, that completes this particular part. Okay, as far as the operating unit is concerned, we require an operating unit only if you are using a subledger. So if required, we can create operating unit now and leave it, and we can start using this operating unit when we start using the subledgers. Okay, click on update. So in a traditional 11i, you go to your organization screen and create your operating. If you want, you can directly click on open organization form, which will take you to the traditional 11i form wherein you can create a operating unit, or you can even create an operating unit here itself. Okay, click on add operating unit. This is the operating unit name. In our case, operating unit will be Reliance Postpaid. So we'll create two operating units, Reliance Postpaid and Reliance Prepaid. Reliance Postpaid. So the short code is just an internal code. Just give you some value. Reliance Post. Okay. As far as the business group is concerned, okay, so this is the Reliance group. I did not create any business group. The reason being, there is already available in this testing environment. There is already available business group of Vision Corporation. I'm using that particular business group generally because in any implementation project, generally as soon as you what do you call install your Oracle software, you will have a seeded business group, which is setup business group. So what we have done in most of our cases, because most of there are a lot of other setups which are directly linked to that particular business group. So instead of creating a new business group and again making all those kind of setups, what we generally do in most of the implementation cases, we rename the setup business group to our business group name, which is Reliance Group. So in this testing environment, that setup business group is already renamed to the Vision Corporation. So that's the reason why instead of Reliance Group, I'm using the Vision Corporation. So that's the only place where I'm using the Vision details. Otherwise, in all other places, I'm creating my own ledger, operating unit, legal entities, and other stuff. Okay. And default legal context is nothing but what is my legal entity for this particular operating unit. So as I said earlier, when you are defining your operating unit, you need to link it to your corresponding legal entity. So what is my legal entity? Reliance Communication. So specify the default legal context is nothing but your default legal entity of that particular operating unit, Reliance Communications. Okay, so any idea why is that in the legal entities, when I click on the legal entities, why it is showing only two legal entities, Reliance Communications, Reliance Textiles. Why is it not showing there are so many other legal entities in this testing environment? Any reason?
Because of the ledger.
Exactly, because when we have defining our, we have associated only these two legal entities to our ledger. So that is the reason why it is only showing these two legal entities in the drop down. So pick up our legal entity Reliance Communications, because we want Reliance Postpaid to be created under Reliance Communications. Okay, click on apply. Okay, so this operating unit is created. Now click on add operating unit to add the next operating unit, Reliance Postpaid. Sorry, Reliance Prepaid. Reliance Pre Business Group is Vision Corporation. Default legal context is, so what is the default legal context here? What should I select?
Communications.
Communications, yeah. Okay, click on complete. Okay, so that completes the operating unit part. Okay, okay, intercompany part also I will explain you when I am covering the intercompany journals, intercompany as well as intracompany. So for the time being, I'll just click on complete. And sequencing. Okay, so as far as the sequencing is concerned, as you know, like in 11i we got something called document sequencing. Okay, but now in R12 we got two more sequencing, which is called accounting sequence and reporting sequence. So what is document sequence? So if you want a system to generate automatic number for each and every journal, then you enable the document sequencing functionality, and then system will not, as soon as you save the journal, system will create an automatic journal entry for the automatic number for your journal entry. This is used in 11a, and even in R12 also it's the same functionality, but we got in R12 we got two more functionalities, accounting sequence and reporting sequence. So apart from the document sequence, there are certain countries wherein they from a local reporting perspective, they are asking a separate sequence from an accounting perspective and reporting perspective. So what is this accounting sequence and what is reporting sequence? Accounting sequence number is generated when you post the journal entry. So document sequence number is generated when your document sequence number is generated when you are saving the journal, but accounting sequence number will not be generated unless and until it is posted. So there could be a scenario like you created a journal and the document sequence number is say 100. So there is some setup separate screen wherein you specify what should be my document sequence numbering convention and what should be my starting document sequence number. So there you create my starting document sequence number is say 100, and you create a journal and document sequence number will be 100. And as soon as the journal is created, before it is posted and or before it is submitted for approval, it is always possible you can delete the journal, and you delete the journal and create a fresh journal, and for the next journal the document sequence number will be 101. Okay, and this is posted and everything's fine, and then you create a one more journal and the document sequence number for the next journal will be 102. Again you delete this particular journal, then create a one more journal, the document sequence number for the next journal will be 103. So if you observe here, in the system now you got only two journals, first one is 101 and second one is 103. So 100 and 102 are missing. So it is always possible that you can have a missing sequence unless until you create something called no gap document sequencing. So we'll not talk about the no gap document sequence for the time being. Okay, so if you are creating a normal document sequencing, here you can see that there is a gap, that 100 is missing, 102 is missing. So that is the reason why some countries prefer to go for the accounting sequence. So accounting sequence number gets generated only once the journal is posted, and once the journal is posted, you will not be able to delete that particular journal. Only option is you can reverse the journal. So that means there will not be, in general scenarios, there will not be any kind of a gap in the accounting sequencing. So first journal is created and it's posted, and say accounting sequence numbering starts from say 200. So you get a accounting sequence number of say 200. And next journal again it is created, it is not posted, so no entry, no number is generated. It is posted now, and the number generated is say 201. And for the next journal it could be 202, and so on. So generally there should not be any kind of a sequence when there should not be any gap in the sequence number as far as the accounting sequencing is concerned. So this is document sequencing is created at the time of creation of the journal. Accounting sequence is created at the time of posting of the journal. And reporting sequence is a sequence number which is assigned to each journal at the time of closing of the period. So as soon as you close the period, a system generated number will be assigned to all the journals in that particular ledger. So it could be say starting from, so say 300, 301, 302, 303, and so on. So in some countries, I think in some European countries, some countries this reporting sequence is mandatory. I don't remember if it's France or Italy or some of the countries this reporting sequence is a mandatory. So that is the reason Oracle has provided that particular functionality. But again, these are all optional. If you want, you can enable that, and if you do not want, you do not enable that. And in this example, as I said, this sequence number is generated at the time of close of the period. As you know that in Oracle, once you close the period, it is always possible to reopen the period. Okay, you can reopen the period, and then again you can reclose the period. So when you reopen the period, all these numbers will be deleted, and then again one more. Sorry, like in this example, so what will happen is it could start from say something like this. Okay, any questions here?
No.
Okay, thanks.
No, so if you reopen the period, then these numbers will change, right? So what will happen to the 301, 302? So
They
there
are
will be a gap.
Yeah, there will be a gap. They are automatically deleted. Yes, but from a reporting perspective, the control there is like you close the period, you reopen the period, you again close the period. Okay, and this is the numbers 304, 305, 306. Okay, this is what you have even generated some reports. Okay, and you have given the reports to say local authorities. Okay, from an audit perspective, now you will be catched. Like after this, if you again close and reopen, the numbers will change. So that's where the authorities will catch that, oh, you have reopened the period and make some adjustment after you have actually what you call reported to us. So that's where is the catch point there. Did you get what I'm trying to say?
No, I did not get it.
Okay, I'll explain you. Say so now we have not yet closed the period. Okay, now today I close the period, and our number is say 300, 301, 302, 303. Okay, I close the period, and this is the numbers which got generated. I've still not made a reporting of my numbers to my local authorities. Okay, and now I realized, oh no, I should have passed some adjustment. Okay, let me reopen the period. Okay, I reopen the period. Okay, now local authority, remember local authority do not even know these numbers. Okay, I reopened the period, and then I made the adjustment and I closed the period. Okay, and now system generated these numbers. Okay, now you made a reporting of your numbers to your local authorities. Now at this stage, what they are going to check is they are not look into the gaps. They only just check what are my numbers 304, 306, 307. Okay, that's fine. Now after a couple of months, say after 2 months, if somebody do an audit, and if they can change, if they can see any change in these numbers, say if they can see numbers as say 308, 309, 310, 311, that means they can find out that yes, you have you have reopened the period, made some adjustment, closed the period. That's the reason the system has regenerated these things. So what they are concerned is, after the reports are generated to the local authorities and after the reporting sequence is generated, okay, it could be any sequence, okay, and later point in time, even if you do an audit on those journals, even after say 1 year or 2 years, you should be able to see the same reporting number, the reporting sequence number. If there is any change in the reporting sequence number, so that means somebody has actually reopened the period, made some adjustment, and closed the period. That's the catch.
Okay, got it. And do we have the historical data as well? I mean, in this case, will I have the data of 300 to 303 somewhere in the system?
Um, I think it should be maintained in some audit table. I don't remember exactly a table, but I think it should be maintained in some audit table. Yes.
Okay.
But again, as far as this sequence is concerned, I think your local authorities is not even concerned about that. The reason being, as I said, like the significance of this is they just want to ensure that once the reporting sequence number is generated and reported to them, there should not be any change in those sequence numbers, even if they check those general, even after 6 months or 1 year.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we are not going way ahead with those things. So just do a complete apply. Okay, so here you can see the tick marks for all the setups. Okay, so that means you can start using this particular ledger. So after you can see the tick marks for all these things, there are a couple of things you can come back here. Say take an example of intercompany balancing ledger. You can come back here and you can make the changes at later point in time also. Okay, but now everything is complete. Now click on complete button. This is important. You are about to complete your accounting setup Reliance INR ledger. This will save your setup option and prevent the deletion of certain components such as legal entities, balance and segment values, and reporting currencies. Do you want to continue? If you say yes, that's it. You cannot make changes to couple of these things. There are certain things which you can change. And if you say no, you can go back and you can make the changes and again come back to this particular screen. Okay. Now I'll say yes. Okay, you have completed the accounting setup. The general ledger accounting setup program has been submitted. Please review this concurrent request. Make sure this request completes successfully before you enter the transaction. So there is a request ID which got triggered. So where we can check the request ID? Rohit, do you remember?
Uh, yeah, it will be in view
Yeah, view,
somewhere. View requests.
request,
Yeah.
find. Okay, so this is the request ID. General ledger accounting setup program. The message says that ensure that this request complete successfully before you start entering a transactions using this particular ledger. So this is completed successfully, completed normal. There are no errors or there are no warnings. Okay, you need not even, as it is completed normal, you need not click on the output or log file. Okay, so that means now you can start using this particular ledger. Okay, any other questions before we proceed with the what do you call, the entering of the journals?
I have one on the accounting sequence. Like in case we reverse out an entry or something, will it be still in an accounting sequence or
Okay,
then skip?
go back to here. Okay, coming back to the so take an example. There is one particular journal, okay, which you have reversed. Okay, as you know, like in Oracle, when you reverse a journal, so there will be a reversal journal entry which gets created. So reversal journal entry is altogether a new journal. So as it is altogether new journal, there will not be any change to the existing document sequence number. It will be a new journal, and for the new journal, there will be a new document sequence, new accounting sequence, and new reporting sequence. So take an example. So take an example. You have this particular journal entry: expense account debit $100, and say cash account credit $100. Okay, this is journal one. Okay, first journal. For this, the document sequence number is say 15 something, 1501 something, and accounting sequence number is say starting with a different series, say 16001, and reporting sequence number is say. Okay, now what you do is when you reverse this particular journal entry, the reversal journal entry will be journal 2, and the reversal journal entry will be cash account debit $100, expense account credit $100. So here you can say reverse of this. Here expense account is debited, and now in the reversal entry you are crediting that. Here cash account is credited, and in the reversal you are debiting the cash account. Now this is the reversal entry, and now the document sequence number could be 15,002, and accounting sequence number could be 16,002, and reporting sequence number could be 17,002. Okay. So as
Okay.
far as the original journal is concerned, there will not be any changes to the sequencing number is concerned, because they are already posted. You're only just, as soon as the journal is posted, system will not allow you to make any changes to the journal. You'll not be able to change you will not be able to make changes to the journal name, batch name, journal number, amount, code combination, debit, credit, description, nothing except reversal. That's the only option available for you to the reversal is the only option available for you on a posted journal. System will not allow you to make any other changes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Arvind, can you help to add some points on the secondary ledger? What is the significance, and I mean, 1-2 business scenarios why we need to go for secondary ledger?
See, you can see in my screen. Can you see my screen?
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Okay.